Are you thinking about Office 365 consultant role? Or maybe you thinking about changing your career direction? My name is Szymon Bochniak from Microsoft 365 at work. Let's talk about Office 365 consultant role and how to prepare for it. This video will be a little different because I would not focus on the any of specific technologies and work around how to configure something or set up something in the Office 365. I decided to record this video because many of the students of free course How to Get Office 365 for Free were asking, okay, we get the fundamental knowledge about Office 365, but what to do next? What kind of skills should be something that we should focus on if we're planning our career around Office 365? In this video, I will try to share my personal experience in this area. So how to prepare for the role of Office 365 consultants, on what skills, on the technical side and on the soft skills side, you should focus on if you would like to prepare to be successful Office 365 consultant in the future. I know that this is quite new format on this channel, so if you will like it, please leave the thumbs up. If you want to get more videos or notifications, please subscribe and let me know in the comments if this is something that works for you and if this is the format that you're looking to see on this channel. And let's talk how to prepare to be Office 365 consultant. Before we will move forward, we need to talk a little about planning your career in area of the Microsoft 365 technology stack. There's no one good or universal answer for everyone. The range of roles and technology areas you can work in Microsoft 365 technology stack is huge. You can work as administrator, DevOps, consultant, developer, power user. On the other hand, you can be focused on the business intelligence solutions, security aspects, digitalization of the business processes, or maybe just working in area of improving the communication or collaboration around Office 365. And you can see this is only the small part of possibilities that there are. I'm also not any kind of guru or coach that have answer for everything, or the informations I will share with you in this video will be something that will work for everyone or is one answer for every questions you will have. You will need to adapt to your expectations, to your skills. In this video I want to show you what kind of career path is around Office 365 consultant role, which will be focused on the digitalization of the business processes, and why I see it as a possible and valuable career path for the people who starting their journey with the Office 365 technology in general. I mentioned that students that finished Microsoft 365 for Free course, which covers the fundamental knowledge about Office 365 in general, were asking, okay, what to do next? What you will recommend me as technologies or skills I should focus next if I want to grow as a professional working in the Microsoft 365 technology in general? And I want to help to answer that question, but from my very subjective perspective. And to clarify who am I and why I'm talking about being Office 365 consultant, let's understood what kind of career I have and where I have strong skills and weak skills. So I have the education around the IT, technical studies. I was working as a SharePoint administrator, consultant, architect, analyst, and later on as a service delivery manager around Office 365 consultants teams. So I was the person who working in projects and delivering the solutions built for business in the Office 365, and at some point I was managing 20-30 consultants that were focused on the Office 365. My role was also to hire them, but again, the way how I was building this kind of teams were focused on my experience, my feelings, my expectations. So remember, the informations I'm sharing here are very subjective for my personal experience in the past. One more thing which is also quite important, I have no developer experience. I was developing some code during studies, but that was something that totally not fit into my skills or possibilities to grow as a professional specialist in the future. And that was also one of the reasons I go through the consultant role rather than developer role. And we're getting to the questions to whom I would recommend Office 365 consultant role. And the first answer will be not to developer. If you are a developer, you like developing the code, probably this will not be something that will work for you. And to be fair, in the past, I never met the developer that liked to work in that kind of role. Again, this is not the universal answer, but there is good chance if you doesn't have developer skills, this is something that could fit into you. But on the other hand, if you like writing the code, probably this role will be something that will bring you from your comfort zone strongly. There are also two cases where becoming Office 365 consultant could be really good career choice. If you want to switch from admin or service desk role to something more advanced, becoming Office 365 consultant or getting the skills in area of consultant role could be something that could help you to find a new direction for your career. On the other hand, if you're totally changing your career path and you want to retrain your skills from your current position to something more in IT, consultant role could be something that will work for you. In the past, I see florists, architects, building architects who left their job and retrained to become the consultant and start their new career path in the IT around Office 365. And it is doable because of few elements that I would like to share with you as real advantages of this role from perspective of switching from current position to something new. At the very beginning, there's no big entry threshold from perspective of the skills and from perspective of the time you will need to spend to learn the new things to become the Office 365 consultant. Of course, there's no zero additional work that you will need to spend to learn to become Office 365 consultant or to learn the new technologies, but you don't have to be developer, you don't have to be extremely technical person. Moreover, later on, I will tell you that having soft skills on the good level is something that will strongly help you here. And again, learning technical things is something that you can do. It's not the skill you did born with. This is something that you can learn by doing stuff. And that's why it's easier to move from totally different career path to the consultant role because of quite small entry threshold. Moreover, all technical skills you will have here and soft skills I would recommend you to learn will be usable in your future. These are not the things that will be strongly focused on very small area where you can use it. These will be the elements that you will be able to transfer for any future position you will work for. And that's why this kind of learning purpose is double value, because if you will decide at some point this is something totally not for me, I do not want to work as an Office 365 consultant, the time you will spend to learn elements on the technical side and the soft skill side will be something that will be easily transferable for your new role. And the last but not least value around this position is you will be able to secure or maybe increase your career in the future. From my perspective, working in the Microsoft 365 technology stack is something that will just grow in the next years. Of course, this is not something that will guarantee you job for whole life, but at the same time, from perspective of the next years, we can expect that this is the area that will just grow, and having qualifies in area of Office 365 applications will be valuable skills on the job market. I talk a little what kind of role is behind Microsoft 365 consultant, when that kind of career path could be something that will work for you. But now let's try to answer, if you will decide to try it, what you need to do on your side to prepare to be good in this role, or to prepare to switch from current position you're working on to the possible position of the Office 365 consultant. In this scenario, I will focus on the very specific business case or very specific approach for that kind of role to help to digitalize business processes. This is something that is quite universal for every organization. Almost every company have the processes that are expensive, taking a lot of time and taking a lot of costs to make them work. And there is great space for improvement in area of using Office 365 components to do that. And I want to start from soft skills rather than technical skills. I will get there, so I will list all the technologies I would recommend you to start to work on, since the very basic stuff to get important and really valuable knowledge for that role. But from the very beginning, let's talk about other skills that it's worth to get and learn, and which probably will take you more time to get really good experience in area of them. So if we're talking about digitalize business processes, we need to start to automate things. And if you have your daily work on your current position, start to think about possible improvements you can do. Start to think what kind of solutions you could automate, and start to do that for your very personal approach. This is something I'm doing on every position I'm working on. I'm trying to simplify my daily work by automate things using the Office 365 technologies just to save time. I heard that being lazy in that area is something super useful, so start to be lazy at your position, the approach of the task you have assigned for every day, and start to automate that. In the next step, when you will gather that kind of knowledge, help others in your team, maybe in your department, to automate their business processes, to optimize the business processes, like get rid of Excel file and start to use Office 365 organized data structure and processes to maintain that data, or to do the automated activities rather than manual repeated daily tasks you have to do. This will be probably the first time you have contact with others with different expectations, with different business requirements you will need to face. And this is something that I would like to encourage you to focus on. To talk with people who are not you, who have different perspective, different understanding and different goals. And try to build the business processes or automations that will address their goals, not yours. This will give you possibility to move on to any kind of digitalizations of the business processes in the organization. And to be fair, this is very common way. If you are in the internal team, you helping to do something across the IT or any other department, if you will start to automate things, saving the time, making people's lives easier, people will see that. And this will give you the possibility to extend that kind of knowledge for the other departments, maybe the organization. If not in this job, maybe in the next one. The next element on my list is do the business analysis. This is quite complex process to sit down with the people you totally don't know and understand their business process, understand their goals, the steps of the process, and the way how it could be automated. On the other hand, to use the technology you will learn soon in the video, and how to match that with what people expect to achieve. And this is quite important element, but if you will get through these steps I mentioned in this video, this will be much easier to do the business analysis. But to do that, you need to extend the work of automations for your personal work, your team, maybe your department, outside of that scope. Of course, this is not one day job. Probably you will need time to get that opportunity, but still, this is something that you need to work on. And you already see this is not the technical skill to do the business analysis of the business expectations of the people outside of your IT department or the place you work right now. And it could be challenging. It could be difficult to talk with people that are maybe not open to do the automation or maybe blocking that kind of approach because are scared about the change. And it's very important in this place to have very good soft skills to do the proper business analysis because you need to talk with people. On the sales trainings, you will hear that people like to buy things from the sales people that are likable. And this is have to be also something that you will do. You need to be really friendly person that people likes to talk with, that have the feeling that you understand them, and at the same time you are the expert in the area of the business process, not technology. In the end, you will see that it doesn't matter for them. For the business users, there's no importance to use one or other technology. It's important to address their goals. And you need to work on your soft skills. Having good soft skills, personal experience in discussions with the business who are not technical, this is something that will help you not only in this role, but in every possible position you will work when there will be a mixture of the technology and people who use it. And the last element I listed on this slide, you need to start to finding the ways to improve existing business processes. So not to repeat one-to-one how the process looks today, finding the areas where there is a space for improvements, to save time, to simplify the process, to do not repeat something that is already covered. This is extremely difficult to do because you need to have very good understanding of the business process, of the technology behind that will address that, and good connections with the people on the business side to convince them to improvement or change in the business process. Again, will be probably result of your previous task you will focus on. If you will get experience, it will be much easier to do improvements in existing processes. But again, you can imagine if you will not have soft skills, it will be very difficult to do any of these activities I recommend you. Maybe the first one. There's no big challenge to convince yourself to do something. And if you doesn't believe in this area, I highly recommend you to watch few episodes of Big Bang Theory and compare how it will be to work on the daily basis with the Sheldon Cooper, who is super intelligent, great scientist, and Leonard Hofstadter, who is on the other hand person who have much better soft skills on the daily basis. Imagine that you need to spend with them 3 hours in the one room to discuss about the business process. Imagine how difficult it will be to talk with one persona or another persona from perspective of your daily tasks and how to improve that. That's why soft skills are so important, because in the end you need to work with people. And people needs to like you if you want to convince them to do something different way. It's very difficult to build efficient collaboration if your soft skills will be on very low level. Again, this is quite difficult to improve the soft skills. I'm starting from that point because I believe this is the most important part on the consultant role. I also asked on our Facebook group what other people that join the group will recommend or ask about role of Office 365 consultant. And Sarah bring really good point that I also want to highlight here. At some point, when you will get from your department, from your team, and start to work with other departments, maybe with the customers, you will need to work on your project management skills and on your work estimations. All the steps I mentioned previously will help you to get the knowledge and experience that will help you to manage the projects better way and to manage the cost estimations that you will do based on business analysis, before you will start to work on the project. It's extremely difficult to do both of these things without any experience in that area. So that's why work on projects since day one on your small scope, then extend it to the different people, to the different teams, and do more and more and get more experience in that area to do better project management and to do better workload and cost estimations, because sooner or later you will be asked for that. And this is quite complex process, but again, if you will need to start to work on something, try to think about that kind of elements. If you're doing the project, imagine how much effort you spend on that, how many hours some kind of task took on you, and how to prioritize them to meet the project timeline and to meet the business expectation on the customer side. And finally, we're getting to the technical elements that it will be worth to know if you want to do all steps before. So if you want to start to automate things for you, for your team, for your department, or to the whole organization, you need to have the technical tools and skills how to use it to make it happen. But you will see that none of them are that difficult to learn, and you can start from the very basic stuff that will be possible to learn quite quick to start the journey with doing something on the production. And that's why I'm mentioning, if you want to learn for the Office 365 consultant role, do things that will help to address your pains, help others, get support for the other team, to work on the very specific existing business cases rather on something totally outside from the realistic perspective on the demo tenant. Of course, it's great to use that kind of technology to learn there, but implementation of the business processes or automations have sense in the time when you're working with somebody and addressing something realistic, something that will save time in the very specific business case. We already started from the request of the people that get through the fundamental training of the Office 365. And this is something I recommend you to get through, to understand what kind of applications are there, wide area of tools that are present in the Office 365, not only from perspective of digitalization of the business processes, but wider area. You don't have to be expert there, you don't have to have strong knowledge, but understand differences, understand high-level goal and purpose of these applications, because this will also something that help you, and this is the high-level knowledge that is missing in the teams you will work with. I always repeating the sentence, if you know more than business you work with, you will be the expert from their perspective. So get that knowledge, get through the fundamental training of Office 365, get that understanding. This will be helpful on every step of the process. The first application I would like to recommend you to start with is Microsoft Lists. Something super simple, something available on every license on the Office 365, and you don't have to be admin to start to work with. You can do that on your OneDrive account to create Microsoft Lists and start to work there, and you don't have to develop anything, know any kind of coding to start to work with the data structure created on the Microsoft Lists. If you will get to know Microsoft Lists, this will help you to build the very fundamental structure of the data, how to use that data then to automate things in the next steps, but also some kind of reporting for the business users. You don't need to have any additional licenses. I guarantee that if you're using Office 365, if you have OneDrive account, there is good chance that you can start to use Microsoft Lists in the day one to help to organize the data and help to optimize business processes just from your perspective. The easiest case to start to use Microsoft Lists, you have nasty Excel file that is used by you, maybe by your colleagues, when you're sharing some kind of records. Get rid of that, move that data to Microsoft Lists and start to use it there. The next step I would like to recommend you is Power Automate. So solution that help you to build the processes or build the automation. So take the data from Microsoft Lists and do something with that. Send the email, send the chat message on Microsoft Teams, maybe update the data, send the records, get the approval, multiple elements that you can do that Again, something that doesn't require custom development skills from your side to start to work with. This is totally no code approach. And you can already imagine how many possible improvements you can do to predefine emails, to predefine the messages, to get the approvals digital way rather than on paper. There is a huge opportunity there to use Microsoft List plus Power Automate, and this is something I recommend you to start with. The next steps I would recommend you in that order are Power Apps, Microsoft Dataverse as an alternative for Microsoft Lists, and Power BI. These are more advanced tools that help you to build more complex applications with more complex data structure, with more complex logic. Sooner or later you will get there to use them, to customize the form using Power Apps, and this is something that requires more developer-oriented knowledge. It is advertised as a no-code or low-code approach, but you will see that knowing the coding rules and areas of development will be very helpful here. It's much more complex approach than using Power Automate. Microsoft Dataverse, on the other hand, it is premium Power Apps with very complex data structure that you can build behind it to manage large volume of the data gathered through the business processes. At the very beginning, it will be not something that will be helpful for you, but sooner or later you will get there. And the last but not least, Power BI. So build great reporting around the data or the business process you will digitalize, and build the KPI reports for your management or for the most important people in this business process. And again, all these elements is something that you can learn by using them. If you doesn't have the opportunity to use Power Apps, Power BI, Microsoft Dataverse, or Power Automate in your company organization, I recommend you to use learning tenant that you can set up for free and use for your training purposes. In the description you found the link to the training that covers setup of that kind of tenant. It's super useful to have something like that in the hand. And again, many people who does that kind of training looking for the opportunity to become Office 365 consultant and what to do next. I'm not focusing that much about the technology in here. This is something that you will be able to cover in the more or less hard work around it, and the knowledge and experience in the technical stuff will come to you with the new solutions that you will deliver. But remember, at the same time, soft skills around selling this solution or talking with the business about these solutions is much more important, because the best solution, best technical solution that is implemented in the organization that nobody uses is worth nothing. And you need to convince people at the same time that this kind of change will be improvement to their daily tasks. And that's why soft skills are that important in role of Office 365 consultant. So I share with you my recommendation about the key elements that you need to learn if you want to be successful Office 365 consultant. And I want to address one more thing that came up during the discussion on our Facebook group. All our Jerama shared the question, okay, but what you will recommend how to get to the business or the companies when you are Office 365 consultant? And this is a very good question. In the proposed approach I presented, this is something that will navigate you to be the person that could be recognized as an expert in the area of the automation in Office 365. If you will start to improve your daily task, then team task, maybe department processes, and then go outside, this is the natural process that could happen in your organization. Of course, this is not something that will happen everywhere. At some point you become recognized as this is the guy who can automate stuff in the Office 365. It's much more difficult process if you want to sell yourself as a consultant to the third-party companies, to the customers. In such case, you will need to learn about the pre-sales, so how to show the value for the end users, to the business users on the customer side, to the management on the customer side, that your service around digitalization of the processes in the Office 365 will be value for them. But to do that, you need to have good understanding about how business works, how to automate processes, how to improve the business processes, and you need to know how to talk with people to show that value. Selling the technology only, so there is Microsoft List, Power Automate, Power Apps. This is not something that convinces people to do the digitalization of the business processes. You need to show the improvement and the value in time or money, and to do that, you need to get through multiple processes to show your experience in doing elements like that. And that's why there's no easy answer, for sure not in this short video, how to sell yourself as a value to the organization of the business consultant. But still, if you will have the portfolio of the business processes from perspective of your personal tasks to the wider scope, every time it will be something that could really sell you if you are a freelance consultant or you applying for the new job. Showing that kind of proactive approach when you start to improve things and automate things could really help in area of the promoting yourself as an Office 365 consultant or specialist in the business automation using Office 365 tools. And I do not want to get more details around that because this is very initial discussion from my side how to proceed with the Office 365 consultant role. If you like it, let me know. If you have more questions around this process, share that in the comments. Maybe in future I will extend that topic for the new videos to dig into the very specific questions you will have there. So for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope that the knowledge I shared, my personal experience will be something that gives you some additional value, and see you in the next video.